What is up, gamers? We are back. Yes, sir. So today we're gonna do a part two to five PS4 games that run at 60 frames per second on the PS5. So I did part one already. I didn't call it part one. I said five PS4 games that run on a PS5. But this is going to be a second video. You guys watched it. You guys wanted me to do more of those. So, hey, I'm going to do more of those. Which I love making these because it gives information to stuff that maybe some people don't know. And it seemed like a few people didn't know when I did that video. So, this is great. As always, thank you guys so much for being here, for liking, subscribing, commenting, all that, man. You guys are amazing. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me reach my next goal of 1,100 subscribers before the month of July is over. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, notification bell, so you stay up to date whenever I drop videos. But let's get into the video. So, 5 games that are PS4 games that run at PS5. That is the video today. And last time I started with alphabetical order, so I got through basically my A's and B's, which were games like Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty. Today, I think I have one game in the C, one in 3 in D, and one that starts with the F. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with that. So let me go ahead and move the camera up a little bit. Bam. Alright, so the very first one of today's video is, let me move this stuff to the side, Crysis Remastered Trilogy. So, Crysis Remastered Trilogy has Crysis 1, Crysis 2, Crysis 3, all in the same disc. Every single game. Now, I don't know if it's on the actual disc. We should do it Will It Play with No Internet. Let me know if I should do it Will It Play with No Internet. I probably will end up doing it Will It Play with No Internet. But if you guys recommend it, then I'll do it sooner than later. But both or all three of these games ran at 30 frames per second on the PS4. Not just that, but when these games originally came out, it was very resource heavy game on PC. I mean, the game didn't run very well. It took up a lot of memory. It just took up a lot, right? People were complaining about this game for so long, right? But the developer obviously went to work. They did their best with it, and now we get the best out of this game. So I was playing the first one. I haven't beaten all three. I haven't even beaten the first one. But I was playing the first one a while ago, and I was thinking back while thinking about this video, like, man, you know what? The gameplay was kind of smooth. So I went back, popped it in, and I was like, man, yeah, this game is running really good. So I checked out the other two real quick, and same thing. These play at 60 frames per second. And for people who don't understand what frames per second means, so the best way that I can explain it, I'm not a techie. Once again, I really don't care as long as it works, but just to kind of help out other people who may not know, is frames per second is literally in the name. How many frames can you fit in 1 second of video? So 60 frames per second means that you can get 60 frames in 1 second. So if you remember those little flip books where you flip it and the picture would show up as you kept flipping it, now picture that you're going so fast that you're able to flip 60 of those pages in one. Or if you take, 60 pictures and you play them in a video, you fit all those in 1 second. Now obviously the more frames per second, the smoother it will look. Movies, on the other hand, they don't do stuff like that. They do more like, I think it was like 15, 20, or not 15, I think that's too slow, but like 20 frames per second, 25 frames per second. I think that's kind of the sweet spot for movies. For video games, we have been getting 60 frames per second for decades. It just wasn't until recent console generations where these developers just, with graphics and the whole 9 yards, it got to be at a crazy level. But so we kind of saw a lot of the games take a step back from 60 frames per second. 30 kind of became the standard for a while there, and now we're back up, at least on the console side, right? And now on the PS5 gen, these consoles are, and Xbox, these consoles are able to perform at a high level. So now we're getting the graphics the performance out of the game to go along with the visuals and everything else. So, but it just all that means is that you get smoother gameplay. It looks better. It feels better, right? But it doesn't mean unlimited frames, unlimited freaking. It looks better unlimitedly. No, unlimitedly. That's not even a word. But the eye can only get so many frames per second. I think the human eye caps out at like 240 or something like that. And somebody out there will correct me, but it's a number. There is a cap to this. It's not like you can get 500 frames per second in the year 2040 and you're gonna be able to see all that. No, it stops at a certain point. But 60, 120, that's where gamers like to be, especially when there's games that have fast movements, gunplay, stuff like that. You don't want to be lagging, you don't want to be hitching, you don't want to be doing none of that stuff. So, Crysis Remastered Trilogy, I heard is a good game. I enjoyed what I played so far. Definitely got to get back into it. But yeah, 60 frames per second for Crysis Remastered Trilogy. The next one that we have here is, let me move this back, is Dead Cells. Dead Cells runs at 60 frames per second on the PS5. Dead Cells, I think they call it a Metroidvania game. I've played a little bit of this game, but I ended up not liking it, and the reason I didn't is because of the Metroidvania kind of series, and the game didn't capture me enough to kind of overcome it like it did with Prince of Persia. Like, that game was pretty cool, but it's a dope game. I'm eventually going to get back into it. I bought it for a reason. But yeah, the game runs at 60, super smooth. It is a pixelated kind of game, so it doesn't have the best visuals, which make total sense, because if you look back at the history of frames per second, most of the games that we've been playing in our life that are 60 were pixelated games, right? But this is a very popular game. A lot of people really, really love this game. This game sold so well. So shout out to the developer. They even had to come out with a post like, hey guys, this is going to be the last year or the last whatever that we're going to make out content, because they did so much. I think when I bought this game, there's still another edition, I think 2 more editions of this game that have even more content on there. So yeah, if you like smooth gameplay, Dead Cells is one that will give you that 60 frames per second. So we're at number 2. Number 3 is Dreams. Dreams is another one that runs at 60 frames per second on your PS5. Now, this one is, like it says right here, creators from the creators of Little Big Planet. So this game is so unique, man. It is one of the most unique games I ever had in my life or played in my life. I played it digital. I went ahead and got me a physical copy. I had to, but it's a game within games, if that makes any sense. You can create, just about anything you want in this game. But the fact that it still runs at 60 frames per second is super impressive. But it's unfortunate that this game didn't get a lot of support from the gamer or from the publisher, because this is such a unique game in itself, right? But yeah, it just sucks. But we at least have it in our hands, and we will be able to play it for as long as we own it and our stuff works, right? But also another point that I want to bring up is that this was a PS4 enhanced game. So I don't know if it runs at 60 on the PS4 enhanced version, which I think it may, but I don't want to tell you guys that. But check it out. Dreams, phenomenal game. So that is number 3. Our 4th game on the list is Dying Light. Now, I just did a Will It Play with No Internet, and I compared the enhanced edition to this, but something that comes straight from the game is the 60 frames per second. Now, if you haven't played Dying Light, go check it out. I'm about to start and replay it all over again eventually. There's just so many games. Death Stranding 2 just came out last week, which at the recording of this video, I haven't even got started yet because I'm finishing up Death Stranding 1. But Dying Light is a zombie game. The story is killer. The gameplay is fun. It's just a good game. And this game being 60 frames per second is huge because the combat is, you're constantly in combat. You're constantly, you're what do they call that, parkouring. You're moving around. There's a lot of things going on, and the fact that the game's at 60 makes things that much clearer, that much better looking, that much smoother. So Dying Light, they just dropped the enhanced edition, which makes the visuals look a little bit better. And yeah, it's a great time to go back into this game if you haven't played it, or if you have played it, and it's a great time to start playing this one before Dying Light the Beast comes out in August, which is a day one for me. So that's number 4. Number 5 on this list today is Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5 is another one that's on the list of games that play at 60 frames per second. Far Cry 5 was the first Far Cry that I went back to play, which I never played. I never played none of the Far Cry games after I beat Far Cry 6 on the PS5. It is the first one I decided to go back into. I think it's outside, something that I find very funny about people who complain about Ubisoft games and Far Cry in specific and Assassin's Creed in specific as well, which is 2 of Ubisoft's biggest IPs, is that when you get them out of that hating conversation, they always bring up games like Far Cry 5 and Far Cry 3. I'm like, for a series that gets so much hate, yet you say that these are some of the best games? I don't understand it. But either way, I'm not a Ubisoft hater. I understand that Ubisoft does a lot of shit that's messed up, which we should call them out on it. But I just don't hate Ubisoft because it's Ubisoft. I always say, it's up to you. I'd rather get a game that you guys call quote-unquote bloated than to get a game that doesn't have enough content. And that's how I felt about Spider-Man 2. I just felt that Spider-Man was a tad bit too short. I wish they would have added 5 more hours or so into the game, and it would have been perfect. Doesn't mean I disliked it. I was just a little disappointed in that, right? It just didn't... I just felt like they didn't have the same amount of content that they did on the first one. But either way, that's a different thing. Far Cry 5, you can play at 60 frames per second, which is impressive. The game is an open world action adventure game, right? So I remember playing this game. I still haven't beat it because it's just so big, and I like to do almost everything in the game. I mean, the last Far Cry game that I played, I think I have, I don't know, upwards of 80 hours or something into it. But I don't have the time. But it is there. It is not going anywhere. And the fact that I can play it at 60 frames per second, oh hell yeah, definitely. It looks better, right? It just does. But there y'all have it, man. So we have our top 5 games, part 2, or not top 5, but 5 PS4 games, part 2, that run at 60 frames per second. So we have Far Cry at number 5. We have Dying Light, number 4. We have Dreams at number 3. We have Dead Cells at number 2. And then, of course, we have Crisis Core Trilogy, or Crisis Remastered Trilogy, that all run at 60 frames per second. So let me know what you guys think. Did you guys know that these games ran at 60 frames per second? I didn't. Well, I kind of did, but I didn't know for certain until I went back and checked them out. But let me know what you guys think, man. Any of these games have you played? Do you think these games are really good? Do you think some of these games sucks? Let me know what you guys think. I really want to get your opinion on what you like as far as video games go. I know I'm going to get back to Crisis Trilogy. I know I'm going to get back to finishing up Dying Light 1 and replaying it, actually. And I know I'm going to get back to playing Far Cry 5 eventually, right? Dead Cells, I don't know. This is going to be a game that I'm just going to have in the event I get the itch to play it. But I don't know if I'm like thinking about heading back into it and try to complete it, right? Because the Metrovania stuff it's really hard. You have to kind of beat it the first go, right? Because once you die, you got to start over again. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for all your support. Thank you guys so much for being here. Don't forget to hit the like button, the share button, all that. And also, if you want to support the channel by more than just hitting like button, feel free to hit the thank you button that's shaped like a heart right next to the subscribe button. Every single bit of money that I make from there is going right back into the channel. We're investing in recording equipment, editing software, purchasing more games that we can test with Will It Play with no internet, games that we can test to see if they're buggy, working just fine, all that. So thank you so very much for all your support, and we'll catch you in the next one. Keep it gaming.